Hi, welcome to the topic for this week, victory over death. While not all of us would kena the topics that we have spoken so far this year, but there's one topic that will be close to us or our loved ones, victory over death. Death was not God's original desire for humanity. God created human beings for life, not death. Adam had received the breath of life. It was not until Adam and Eve sinned that death arrived. Death is difficult because it is loss, real and painful because a loved one is gone. It is symbolic because it reminds us of the fall, the loss of innocence, sin, and punishment. Death is distasteful and dreaded by humans. Some of us might say, "Choi choi," when we talk about death, though God describes it as a gateway to a glorious new day. Many humans see death as an end of a journey, but God sees it as a potential beginning of a journey to a better life. Responses to death are as different as there are individuals. The bereaved may ask questions like, why did God take him away? Why did I get angry at a person before she left the house? What was I thinking when I let him go alone without me? What if? Why? Sudden death can lead to a complicated grieving process because the suddenness often gives the person no chance to react. It leaves feelings of anger, guilt, abandonment. We now know that there are stages of grief as described by various theories. On hearing of a death, two stages are particularly serious: shock and denial. Shock is an emotional and physical response to news of a sudden death. The bereaved person may experience a racing heartbeat, shortness of breath, and feelings of unreality, like a dream. Denial may follow quickly, and the bereaved person may start doing ordinary things like washing the dishes, reconciling accounts, in an attempt to re-establish normalcy. Denial is usually broken when a person must face up to the many decisions that follow a death. So what does the grieving person needs? Switzer has described 8 needs that must be fulfilled for effective resolution of the grieving process. 1. Accept the reality and finality of physical death. 2. Become aware of and express all the feelings about the loss or toward the deceased. Sometimes this concerns the way the person died. 3. Break the emotional ties with the deceased. That is, not act as though he or she is still physically present. 4. Break habitual patterns of speech and other behaviors that assume the deceased is physically present. 5. Affirm one's own value apart from interaction and connection with the deceased. 6. Reaffirm and therefore allow to come back to life those characteristics and behaviors that contribute to one's ongoing and growing life. 7. Cultivate both old and new relationships. 8. Rediscover meaning in life. Philippians 1:21. For to me, To live is Christ, and to die is gain. As we continue to ponder upon this topic, there are some questions that we want to use when we are helping another person faced with this situation, or it might be ourselves. Don't be surprised by the variety of responses people have to the death of a loved one. People may do bizarre things in the moments after hearing of a death. It is common for a person to say things like, "Why not me instead?" or "I think I caused it." These are not necessarily true confessions. They might be the cries of a breaking heart. Don't rush the grieving process. The anguish is a necessary part of recovery. Do not tell the person how to feel. Your presence as a loving and attentive listener is your greatest gift to the person who is overwhelmed by grief. Before further interaction, there are a few dangers that we need to rule out. 1. Are you having any physical symptoms as a result of this death? Be aware of signs of physical distress. The bereaved person may need medical attention. 2. Are you feeling increasingly depressed and suicidal? Is the grief beginning to subside? After a certain amount of time, the grief should be lessening. There will always be pain. But if the person is not improving over the course of several weeks, other intervention may be needed. Questions immediately after a death. Who has died? How? Were you present? You might want to ask the bereaved to share with you what happened. Talking about the experience is helpful and might help the bereaved person come to terms with the situation. Secondly, where are other family members located? What kind of a support system exists for helping the person through the experience of loss? If the deceased had children, where are they? Are there any other individuals who will need help dealing with the loss of the deceased? Besides the obvious shock and pain, what else are you feeling right now? You might want to see if there are feelings like guilt, anger, fear. Try to identify the source of the feelings and then make a mental note to talk further about it at a later time. Here are some possible questions to use to help the grieving person. Firstly, what are your favorite memories about this person? What did you like best about him or her? What were his or her best qualities? What were some things that bothered or irritated you? This helps the person realize that the deceased person was not perfect. Fourth, when did you miss this person the most? Morning? Evening? Fifth, to whom do you talk to when you think about this person? Sixth, what do you need from the person you're talking to that will help with your grief? 7, do you still cry when you think about this person? 8, in what ways is your life better for having known this person? 9, in what positive ways can you keep alive the good memories and the joy of having known this person? The above are some questions that you might use to help the grieving person.